So who is this descendancy of Joseph in the last days, of which Jacob is declaring all these blessings, and even hints that this departed scepter or crown from Judah would be upon the head of the descendants of Joseph in the last days? Well, we're talking about Ephraim and Manasseh, and we're going to find out what makes them so important, makes them so unique. And we're looking here at chapter 48. Now, you can go ahead and read through chapter 48 on your own. I suggest you do. But to save time, I'm just going to kind of sum this thing up here. We find out immediately that Joseph has two sons while he's away in the land of Egypt. And these two sons' names are Ephraim and Manasseh. And they were born to an Egyptian mother. So their mother is an Egyptian. Now, she is not just any old Egyptian. She is the daughter of the priest of On, and her name is Asenath. Well, that's very, very important information, because now Ephraim and Manasseh are of priestly royal descent on their mother's side. Now, if you know anything about the ancient rites of succession, now this is going to relate back to Sumerian history. The rites of succession are a Sumerian practice, and it's an Egyptian practice. And if I remember correctly, it's an ancient Hebrew practice. And they're all interrelated. They all come from the same place. But what the rites of succession are about is the simple fact that the mother imparts more genetic material than the father does to the offspring. That's a scientific fact. And the ancients understood this fact. So when they were trying to keep the royal blood moving throughout the generations, the successive generations, they would follow the mother line whenever there was any question, whenever there was a contingency for the throne, that the blood rule of the mother's genes would always rule. Well, that's what you see being displayed here in chapter 48. And we're going to find out that Ephraim and Manasseh are of Egyptian descent on their mother's side. And that is the dilemma that Joseph has, that his father Jacob is about to die. And he wants to present these two sons before him and get Jacob's full blessing over Ephraim and Manasseh to make them full-blown Israelites in the eyes of all Israel. So all the other tribes would accept them as true Israelites with Jacob's blessing. Well, we find out that Jacob actually does bless these children of Egyptian royal priestly descent on their mother's side. And he makes them full-blown Israelites. And that's what you're going to read when you read through all of chapter 48. What I want you to know is that Jacob does something which lets me know, and anybody else know that knows about the rites of succession, that that's what he's practicing. Jacob, when he begins to bless the two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, he chooses to bless Ephraim above Manasseh. Well, Joseph, the father of the two, he thinks that Jacob is confused, and he says, "Father, why are you doing this?" He says, "Manasseh is the firstborn, shouldn't you be blessing him?" And then this is where we get verse 19, where Jacob refuses to bless Manasseh, and he gives the reasons why. And his father refused and said, "I know it, my son, I know it. He also should become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations." All right, so it's not that he refuses to bless Manasseh, but it's he refuses to bless Manasseh above Ephraim. So he says that Ephraim is the one that's going to become greater, and he distinguishes his seed as saying that it shall become a multitude of nations. So this is how Ephraim and Manasseh become a part of the 12 tribes, and which now, from this count, we would have 14. And then this is going to be this connection why we see this scepter or this throne deceptively being moved to the house of Joseph.